Okay, hello, my friends. I am so excited to come to you guys today talking about this super important, super important topic. You guys, I'm Melissa Keenan. I am CEO and owner of Coaching with Melissa Keenan, where women and couples create the intimacy of their dreams. And you guys, I am so just excited to share this message with you. It's so important. Uh, so important because so many of us, I mean, do you guys relate with this? So many of us feel like our marriage is going to take a ton of work in order to get it to what we want it to be. So by the end of this video, you are going to see that working on your marriage is not as hard as you think and can actually feel freeing and joyful, like getting naked. Literally, like getting naked. Picture a little kid getting naked and running through the sprinklers in their backyard. They're free, they're safe, they're happy, they don't care about anything. And that little person is inside of you. And this is the way to actually heal your marriage. Everything that we've seen is backwards, is opposite. All the messages that we're getting about this make it seem so hard. And you probably know people who've worked so hard in their marriage. You may even be, well, we'll get into the objections, but you may even be thinking like, yeah, but you don't know what I've experienced, Melissa. Like, you don't know, my husband hasn't been faithful, or you don't know, we've already worked on stuff so many times. Like, why is this any different? And I'm here to tell you this is different. So you guys, if you want to know exactly how to make this experience feel nothing like work, instead it just feels like getting naked, I want you to type free me in the comments. Free me. I want to be free. I want to be free in my marriage. And I'm going to tell you, exactly how to do this. I want to give you guys specific tools and keys, why this is so crucial, and exactly what to do instead. So type free me in the comments. I'm just going to see if I can look this up so I can see the comments. Who's here? What are you guys doing? What is up? Awesome. Hey, Shakina. Hey, Jennifer. Awesome. So glad you guys are here. Okay, let's dive in. Let's not waste any more time. I want to just start by sharing a really real story with you to let you know that I do get this. I am not just over here being like, oh, everything in my life has been so perfect. And so let me tell you how to just do this super easy thing. And I wouldn't listen to me either if that was the case. I worked so hard in my marriage. I worked so hard. It was 2013. My husband and I had separated. I asked him to move out, despite the fact that we had just had our third child and all of our kids were still in diapers, ages 4 and under. And I asked him to move out, and it was the hardest decision, but I knew like lightning in my bones that we could not continue our marriage the way that it was going. So I asked him to move out. About 5 months later, again, very spiritual, I felt a really deep conviction that I needed to ask him to move back in again. And I thought that that meant now it's time to work hard on your marriage. I spent that 5 months of our separation on the bathroom floor, like sobbing and like just beside myself, and also in this like intense warrior energy, really figuring out who I was. But when we moved back in together, I kept getting confused. It was like, okay, I felt like God had told me you need to move back in together. So it was like, so that means he's telling me it's time for us to work on our marriage. Right. And every time we would try to come together and we would do things like couples therapy, and we would try and do these things to work together, work on the marriage. And it was like, and I could like see it coming, like a huge crash every time, so big. For 2 years that went on. 2 years, I was like, I don't know if this marriage is going to work out. It was so exhausting. It was so hard. Crash and burn over and over. And so why didn't that work? I mean, we were following, like, I was following every free resource I could. Let me tell you, everything I could find on marriage. It's exhausting. I feel that still. Like, I feel compassion for myself for trying so dang hard. I tried so hard. So why did that not really work? Let me tell you what did work. Liberating myself, pursuing me, cherishing me, getting to know me, and letting my husband go. That's what saved our marriage. In the process, did he need to do some work too? Yes, he did. But I had to let go completely. I had to get to the point where it was like, regardless of what he says or does, I'm pursuing me. And those were the things that brought me so much joy. Honestly, that was the part that was easy. That was the part that was like so liberating, right? So why is it so important that we understand that the paradigm that we're living in around working so hard in your marriage is false? Why is that so important? Let me tell you the cost of believing that it's going to be such hard work. For one, I'm not just here to ease your pain, and I'm also not here to feed you lies, right? This is true that this will ease your pain, right? Like, this seems like, oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. My internet froze for a second. It's definitely true that this makes it a lot easier, right? But sorry, it threw me off a little bit. But no, okay, yes. But really, I'm here to tell you this is such a crucial distinction, because when we believe that working in our marriage and actually like doing something to improve this thing that's causing us so much pain, or could be potentially causing us struggle, or even just not quite where we want it to be, when we believe that that's going to be so hard, there's a big cost to that, to believing that and not really understanding what this can look like. So what are some of the costs? I want you guys to write down costs, share costs, if you really want to see and understand this distinction. Okay, and definitely if you have questions, put them in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, #replay, any questions you have here, we'll make sure we come back and answer them. So, okay, when we believe that working in our marriage and actually like finding some joy around this thing called intimacy and marriage is so much work, we stay guarded. We do everything we can to avoid working on our marriage. We fall into numbing strategies because we're just coexisting and it's painful. Maybe, you turn to workaholism or whatever, or worse things, right? You and your husband are fighting more and your family life is suffering. It's like, well, I keep trying to like do stuff to help our marriage, to fix our marriage. And then it just ends in fighting, right? I'm like, I know you've thought about this because I was in these shoes. Like, you think about what kind of like example am I setting for my kids? What are they seeing about what it means to be married and to be a couple? Let me tell you the worst cost of all. The worst cost of all is that you're denying your heart's deepest desires. By avoiding your marriage, you're avoiding yourself. Have you ever thought about that? You think that avoiding working on your marriage is actually preserving yourself, but it's actually avoiding yourself. Okay? Do you guys relate with that? Do you see how that could be the case? So, besides the fact that ultimately, this whole path leads us to misery and ultimately divorce, right? Which costs a lot. If we're looking at like costs a lot of money too. Okay, so why is this so important? Why is this distinction so important? That really, to work on our marriage, it's not about working on your marriage. It's about loving and cherishing you. It's about seeing that this doesn't have to be so hard, okay? because it's actually about you pursuing and liberating yourself. That's what I mean by get naked. Okay. I want to share an example with you. Wait a minute. Let me check these comments really quick. Awesome. Okay. It's a little bit, they do this funny stuff on here. You get to see relevant comments or whatever. Awesome. Okay. I want to tell you what the benefit of this is, really recognizing and letting go of this hard work. The benefit is, I'm going to actually share a story with you. So I have one client where she runs a business with her husband. It's really more like her husband shows up to work and she runs the business herself. She had felt this heavy burden in work, right? Like her husband's just showing up. He may be on the autism spectrum. They're a little bit older, so it's not really something that they've explored because it wasn't really a thing when he was a kid, right? So he's a pretty distant guy. He shows up, he does his work, and she is left with the burden of running the whole business, all the parts and pieces, the employees, like making sure he's where he's supposed to be, all this stuff. She felt this heavy burden. So therefore, working on her marriage was like out of the question. There is no space or time for that. In fact, she had already tried. She had a therapist share with her once, said to her, your emotional capacity is like the mega box of crayons. That one, it's got how many? 1 million crayons in it, right? All different colors. And his emotional crayon box has three colors. So you either need to just accept that or move on. So she had a therapist tell her that. I mean, that is brutal, right? So obviously she felt like there's no hope in this, me actually getting what I want out of this marriage. But there were other things about how their lives were so intertwined, raising kids together. They have this great business together. They have a beautiful life, beautiful lifestyle, beautiful home. So it was like, well, maybe all that stuff is enough. She was settling because someone in the therapy world had told her, this is not even possible, let alone it's not just not hard work. This is this is impossible. And so, you know what, you guys, after we started working together and she really got that it was just about her, not that she was to blame for the situation in the marriage. I mean, there's some serious stuff going on there, but just about her pursuing her. She started cherishing herself and coming onto the calls like a giddy little girl. It was so cool to see. Really cool to see this transformation. She started getting vulnerable and open in safe spaces. She started asking for help more and getting really real with what she wanted, so that she could consciously receive more. I mean, she was doing everything. So it was created so much space. Learning to love her body and pursue the path of pleasure. What that looked like. What does that even look like, independent of my husband and his weird ways or whatever he wants to do, right? She really changed this dynamic for herself so much. She filled her own cup first. And then guess what happened? Her husband followed suit. He started cherishing her. She had this super cute story where she went in to the car dealership. First, she went to Camry. And she had in her mind, I'm just going to get a little Camry. I don't need much. It's fine. And then her husband goes, well, I did set up an appointment for you for Lexus. This is for her personal car, by the way. Set up an appointment for you for Lexus. She's like, oh, do we really even need to go check it out? But she was like, you know what? I'm in this place of allowing and receiving more. Okay, sure. You made an appointment. I didn't even know you made this appointment at Lexus. They went and she, tries all these cars and he's like, why don't you try the best one, right? She loves it. They were this close to getting the car. And then he goes, well, why don't we hold off on this real quick? Because I did make an appointment over at Tesla. And she's like, Tesla? And he's like, yeah, let's not make the decision quite yet. Why don't you go drive this car? And she's thinking, Like, why would we do that? That's so crazy. Like, the price is a very big difference and whatever. But again, she's like, okay, I'm gonna like play with this. He spent the whole day with her, like cherishing her. He took her to the Tesla and she drove away with a Tesla. It was a miracle. And it's not really about like the monetary value of the Tesla or, you know, or the material thing. It's like the value behind it, right? Like she started cherishing herself and he really started cherishing her in return. Okay, isn't that amazing? Now there's a fifth. I'm going to give you 5 steps, 4 steps, but the fifth is like this magic recipe. Like, why does any of this even matter? Why is this working? I don't understand, you know? I'm going to give you that 5th step last of all. I haven't even mentioned it. Okay, but I want to go through this give you some actionable tools that you can actually take away to make this easier. You're pursuing you. You're getting naked with yourself. That's what this is. That's what this is. All the heartache that you've experienced is not your truth. And you know it. And you know you were born for more. So I'm giving you like a path to pursue. Okay. So who wants these 5 keys, 5 keys to getting naked and getting ease when it comes to transforming your experience of your marriage? Type keys in the comments. Love to hear who is ready for these 5 keys. Just coming here to check out these comments. Type keys in the comments. So cool. Okay, all right, there they are. Keys. Okay, great. Whoops, and now I'm playing my own video to myself. This techie stuff is not always my strong suit. Okay, 5 keys, you guys. I really just laid them out in this example with this client. 1, cherish yourself. 2, your desire. Actually figuring out what you want in any given situation and pursuing it, regardless of what your husband does, regardless of what anybody else says or does, actually pursuing your own heart's desires. Okay, 1 is cherish, 2 is desire. 3, consciously receive. Okay, so this is a more of a spiritual concept. It's something that you really like choose on an energetic level. I am going to receive. And it's amazing what happens. It's like, receive what? Receive whatever's already around you. Because when we are in this space of doing everything for everyone, carrying the burden for everyone, feeling like everything is such hard work, we are actually not open to receiving. It's kind of interesting. It's this little like, wait a second, but that's what I want. I want support. I want help. So number 3 is consciously receive. Number 4, pursue the path of pleasure. Okay. What brings you pleasure? How do you know? Feel it in your body. Like the way stuff tastes, the way stuff smells, the way stuff feels, the way things look. What really brings you pleasure? And sexually too, right? What really brings you pleasure? Pursue that. Get curious with that. How's he ever going to know if you don't know? Okay. So cherish, desire, receive, pleasure. Okay. And then this 5th one, which is really like this magic glue that holds all this together. It's when you are living like this, you feel like you have to do everything, all these pieces, you're over masculine. And you're over masculine in your energy. Your energy is yang energy. So this do, hustle, prove, keep up with all the things, organize, structure, direct, lead, all this stuff that you're doing all the time. You're over masculine. And so this fifth piece, all these four pieces point to this. It's embody your feminine energy, your yin. Give yourself permission to explore that. What is that inside of yourself? What is that? This is the formula to getting naked, wild and free. Like when you were 2 and you didn't care that you were naked and you were free in those sprinklers. You were free in that backyard and you weren't worried about a dang thing and you weren't worried about trust or whatever. Like you were just free. Okay? It's that feminine energy. We're born super feminine, just helpless and trusting and curious and excited and all into sensation. Everything is new. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we embody that feminine energy? What is even the next step? Well, I want to tell you, I have created a feminine profile quiz that will help you to identify exactly where you're at on that spectrum, exactly where you fall, and what your very next steps would be. Okay, and so I would love to share that with you. It's a free resource. Happy to share that. Type me in the comments, feminine profile quiz, or me in the comments. And if you put that there, I will private message you and make sure that you get a hold of that feminine profile assessment. It's going to change your world. Okay, this is about pursuing yourself, and I'm telling you, it's going to transform your marriage. It's going to transform your business. It's going to transform your life, and it's going to avoid a ton of pitfalls. It's just letting go of these old, tired beliefs that this has to be so hard because your life is hard and everything is a struggle. We're just letting that go. It doesn't serve you anymore. It's not who you are. And you know it. And you know it. Okay, so if you guys want this assessment, again, feminine profile assessment, type that in the comments. You can type me in the comments. Would love to share this quiz with you. Just so grateful to get to be the space holder for this in the world, because what I know is that we are in a new era with our world and our society. We are changing the way that we look at life. And we are the leaders of that new world. We are creating that. And there is no space for all this settling for less than who we know we really are. Even in your marriage. In your marriage is where you can radiate and shine the fullest. Okay. So excited to share this stuff with you guys. Again, let me know if you want that quiz. So excited to share that with some of you. And we will talk soon. Bye-bye.